Sergeant Elias Rourke slid his tray onto the scarred play-steel table in Kestrel Gates Mutual Commons, the clatter cutting through the murmur of a dozen species. He spotted her immediately. Lysa Venn, the lone Varkash administrator, hunched alone amid clusters of wary traders, her iridescent scales dulled under the harsh overheads, frills flattened in isolation. Without a word, he dropped into the seat beside her, forking into his ration pack as if it were the most natural spot in the crowded hall. Eyes flicked their way. Calaxi merchants whispering behind cupped claws, a pair of hulking Dravoni pausing mid-bite. Lysa tensed, her head crest twitching, but Rourke just nodded once. Polite and steady. Mind company? Place is packed. Her translator chimed softly before she could respond. But he didn't push, chewing methodically while scanning the room's undercurrents. The Varkash enforcers at the far bulkhead glaring daggers, humans from the trade delegation keeping their distance but watching. Tali Saren had arrived just cycles earlier, her archival shuttle docking amid the station's growing clamor. She'd come to document human de-escalation tactics, expecting a footnote in galactic trade logs, soft-skinned traders yielding to Varkash bluster, as always. But as her lightweight drone captured the common scene, hovering discreetly at her shoulder, she froze. A human soldier, armed yet casual, sharing a table with a Varkash outcast? Her species' archives held no precedent for such deliberate exposure. Tali adjusted her optic filters, zooming on Rourke's unflinching posture beside Lysa's shrinking form. They court provocation, she noted in her log, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. Or signal restraint. Across the station's command deck, Captain Zaris. Mara Vance paced before a holographic threat board, her briefing team. Station security marshals and a pair of embedded human diplomats, arrayed in a tight semicircle. Red icons pulsed. Varkash patrol ships loitering too close to docking lanes. Inspections spiking cargo delays by 40%. Harassment patterns clear, Vance said, voice level, tapping a cluster of intercepts. They're probing for weakness without crossing into open aggression. We counter non-violently. Full spectrum sensors on every approach, log every overflight, every comm ping, no escalations. Capture evidence for the Neutrality Tribunal. A marshal, burly ex-fleet with a scarred jaw, shifted. Captain, their last drill held a freighter for 8 hours, crews on edge. Vance met his gaze, unflinching. Then we multitask, reinforce manifests with redundant backups, cycle security patrols to visible deterrence, and liaise with neutral observers like Saren for third-party verification. Humans don't fold, we endure and document, Rourke's table drawing stares. And her lips thinned. See that? Rourke's playing at textbook, public solidarity without a raised voice. That's our line. Professional, measured. In the Varkash flagship, Dreadspur, orbiting at the system's edge, Admiral Karvek Juno drummed clawed fingers on his command pulpit. Status glyphs flickering across his console, his fleet's inspection drills had netted prime human cargoes, exotics bound for core worlds. Without a shot fired, humans squawked through channels but complied, their diplomats bleeding for talks. Soft, he thought, frills high with satisfaction. Authorize Phase 2, he growled to his XX. Board the next 3 freighters. Seize manifests, test their spine. If they resist, minimal force. Terror wins wars before they start. His bridge crew saluted crisply, tendrils of anticipation rippling through the air. Juno leaned back, envisioning the hall boosting his standing in the Dominion Council. Humans were traitors, not warriors. This border's spat would end in capitulation, Kestrel Gate a Varkash asset by cycle's end. Tali Saren glided through the station's mid-ring corridors, drone trailing, her notes compiling, humans calm under pressure, their odd pack bonding crossing species.
She'd queried station logs en route, humans adapting protocols mid-crisis, learning Varkash comm ciphers faster than her own archives predicted.
Pattern recognition beyond norms, she appended, a thrill in her chem sensors. But as alarms whooped softly, Varkash shuttle docking unannounced, she quickened pace toward the trade bays. The clash erupted in Corridor 7, a narrow artery linking docks to commons. Varkash boarders in matte black exosuits stormed through the airlock, pulse rifles humming, seizing a human freighter's crew with barked orders. Manifests, now! Their leader snarled, frills flared, station marshals responded in seconds, non-lethal stunners cracking, batons swinging in precise arcs. A Varkash trooper lunged, claws raking a marshal's arm, blood sprayed, hot and coppery. The marshal grunted. No scream. Twisting to pin the attacker while calling, "Lethals only if armed, breach confirmed. Hold fire." But a second boarder fired wide. Plasma scorching bulkhead. Return fire dropped. Scales. Elias Rourke was first responder from the commons, boots pounding deck plates, rifle slung low. He burst into the fray amid shouts and ozone stink, spotting a wounded marshal clutching a gash. "Med kit!" Rourke barked, dropping beside him, staunching flow with one hand while covering the corridor's flank, eyes tracking three boarders retreating under martial pressure. Lysa Venn trailed at a distance, her face pale, but he waved her back without looking. "Civilians clear." The fight ended in under 2 minutes. 5 Varkesh subdued, 2 human casualties stretchered out. Med drones keening. Tali arrived as medics triaged, her drone capturing Rourke, helping zip a Varkesh prisoner into restraints. Firm. No excess force. Restraint, amid blood. She logged. Mandibles agape. They fight as unit. No rage. Whispers spread already. The soldier who'd sat with the Varkesh now binding her kin. Deliberate mercy. Mara Vance strode into the security hub. Ned scans hollowed beside casualty reports. Debates crackled. Rules of engagement too tight. Next time they kill us. A diplomat countered. Escalate, we lose tribunal sympathy. Vance silenced them with a raised hand. Mind-juggling feeds. Casualty tallies. Varkesh retreat vectors. Saren's observer ping requesting access. Rowie holds. Proportional response. Prioritize de-escalation, but logged every second for Sol command. She keyed a classified burst to Fleet HQ. Fingers steady. Request readiness updates. Diplomatic channel open. Prepare contingencies. No panic, just layers. Talks public. Steel private. In the holding cells, Lysa Venn watched Rourke through the viewport, her isolation shattered by his earlier gesture. He'd checked on her post-fight, casual. "You all right?" No accusation. Tali Saren approached her then, drone whirring. "You were at his table." "Why?" Liza's frills quivered. "He chose vulnerability, publicly." Her voice cracked via translator. "Humans bond across threats." Dominion doctrine scoffed at such weakness, yet here, amid bloody decks, it lingered. Carveg Juno's console lit with failure reports, boarders repelled, cargoes intact, 2 dead. Primitives dared fire, he hissed, status dropping in his mind's tally. Orders flew, tighter patrols, riskier probes, but whispers from Kestrel infiltrators reached him. The soldiers' table sharing, now the measured fight. Illusion of resolve he dismissed, yet unease coiled. Tali compiled her dispatch, drone feeds queued for galactic nets. Humans enduring probes, adapting tactics, reading social fractures like Rourke with Lysa. Misunderstood resilience, she titled it. The Commons rumor swelled. That single seat beside an enemy, now legend preceding storm. Vance watched from the hub. Rourke reporting in clean fatigues. "Solidarity sold, Captain," they saw. She nodded, quiet optimism grounding her. War's shadow loomed, but humans built bridges first. Professional, unyielding. Word count, 1487. Captain Mara Vance leaned forward across the scarred negotiation table in Kestrel Gate's neutral conference pod. Her voice steady as she slid the holopad toward the Varkesh envoys. "We're offering full trade access to our rimward routes. 90% tariffs waived. Joint patrols on the disputed lanes. No more blockades. In return, you pull back from the outer stations and we both walk away with sectors intact." The 2 Varkesh delegates, their scaled hides etched with dominance runes, exchanged glances, their crest frills twitching in what Tali Saren knew from her archival notes, signaled disdain. Tali, perched in the observer's alcove with her recording drone humming softly, captured every angle. Mara's measured gestures, the humans' anti-escalation protocols scrolling on auxiliary screens, de-escalation thresholds, civilian evacuation manifests, even psychological profiles to avoid provocation. As a neutral archivist from the Concordium, Tali had expected this minor border skirmish to fizzle with human concessions. Traders didn't fight, they bartered, yet Mara pressed on without bluster, her dark eyes locking onto Envoy Kresh's. "This isn't weakness, it's efficiency. War costs everyone." Kresh's frill flared fully, a guttural laugh rumbling from his throat. "Efficiency? You mammals hoard scraps while the Dominion expands. Accept our terms, or watch your gates burn." Tali noted the subtext in her pad. Varkesh saw restraint as prey behavior. Mara didn't flinch, countering with data projections of mutual economic fallout. Her multitasking seamless, tracking envoy biometrics, cross-referencing fleet movements, briefing her aide via Neuralink without breaking eye contact. Tali's drone word logging it all. Humans were thorough. Aboard the Dominion battlecruiser Iron Crest, Admiral Karvek Juno paced his command deck, the starfield beyond the viewport mocking his stalled advance. Human restraint at Kestrel Gate, it reeked of cowardice, a soft species delaying the inevitable. His status demanded swift conquest. Lingering invited rival admirals to question his talon. They offered trinkets, he snarled to his staff, slamming a clawed fist on the tactical holomap. The red icons of his fleets pulsed, poised around the neutral station. Frame it as mercy denied. Order Strike Group Theta to make an example. Civilian wing full broadcast. Panic their traitors into capitulation, no survivors to whine. His executive officer, a scarred veteran, hesitated, frill half lowered. Admiral, Concordium observers are embedded. Neutrality protocols. Karvek's glare silenced him. Protocols bend to dominance. Execute. The order cascaded through channels, Varkesh troops mobilizing with predatory efficiency. Karvek watched the feed initialize, his mind already scripting the victory peon. Humans would shatter like brittle hulls. Sergeant Elias Rourke crouched in the Kestrel Gate civilian wing's access corridor, his squad fanned out behind blast shields, pulse rifles humming at low ready. Alarms blared as Varkesh drop pods slammed into the docking bays, breaching seals with plasma torches. Hostiles inbound, civvies trapped in hab blocks 7 through 12. Rourke barked into his comm, eye scanning the schematics overlay. His Marines, 8 pros from the 3rd Orbital Rifles, nodded. No panic, just the grim rhythm of work. Children wailed from the vents, families huddled in the markets turned kill zones. The first Varkesh squad burst through, hulking in powered exosuits, vibroclaws extended. Rourke's fire team opened up, suppressed bursts cracking armor joints. 2 hostiles down before they could broadcast. Flank left, cover the kids, Rourke ordered, multitasking. Suppressing fire while directing evac routes, his mind patterning enemy advance from partial scans. A Marine, PV, Lena Torres dragged a sobbing human boy behind cover, her free hand slapping a med patch on his leg. They pushed forward, extracting 24 civvies amid the smoke. Rourke's rounds punching through a Varkesh sergeant's visor at 20 meters, but the tide turned. Varkesh reinforcements flooded in, herding survivors into open plazas, claws at throats. "Withdraw or we execute," their commander bellowed over open channel, broadcasting the standoff. Rourke's squad held a choke point, but losses mounted. Torres clipped in the shoulder, another Marine down from shrapnel. Partial command log snatched from a wrecked pod console flickered in Rourke's HUD. Troop dispositions. Fallback vectors. Valuable, but not worth the kids. "Fall back," he growled, covering the retreat. Fury banked into cold discipline. They exfiltrated 30 survivors, leaving the rest under blade point. The cost clawed at him. 3 Marines Kaye, the screams echoing. Karvek's feed filled the wing. Varkesh troops methodically executing clusters. Merchants, technicians, families. Children crumpled amid the efficient slaughter. Plasma bolts searing flesh. The broadcast laced with triumphal roars. "Witness Dominion justice," the commander intoned. Bodies piled in the plaza, blood pooling under flickering lights. Tali, who'd slipped toward human lines during the chaos with her drone intact, glimpsed it from a service duct, horror freezing her tendrils. This wasn't war. It was erasure. Back on the UNS Vanguard, Mara Vance stared at the feed in the strategy nexus, her face a mask of controlled stone. The negotiation pod's concessions now mocked her from the logs. Tali Saren burst in under Marine escort. Drone clutched like a shield, her alien skin paling to translucence. "Captain," the children. Mara nodded once, shutting down the channel. No rage, just the pivot to necessity. She activated the secure line to high command voice level. Negotiations terminated. Varkesh executed non-combatants at Kestrel Gate. Civilians, including minors. Partial logs confirm premeditation. Recommend full campaign authorization, cyber insertion, logistics denial, precision strikes on offensive assets. We end their capacity without mirroring their savagery. Admirals assented, the rationale explicit. They killed our innocents. Mara exhaled, weighing the shift. From diplomat to planner, peace to measured war, her flaw nod. Had her patience invited this? But she'd pushed it down, patterning the response already. In the station's shadowed underlevels, Lisa Venn, Varkesh civil liaison, recoiled from the execution feeds her superiors demanded she endorse. Pacification was her role, not butchery. Her motivation had always been ordered expansion, not this void. Witnessing the humans' extraction, restraining fire to save lives even under threat, cracked her assumptions. Traitors fought like that, and the archivist, Tali, scrambling for safety with evidence chips. Lisa moved fast, her admin codes parting security nets. She intercepted Tali in a maintenance bay, frill low in submission gesture. You saw, I cannot abide. Tali's eyes widened, tendrils quivering. Lisa pressed a data spike into her grasp. Logistics codes, fleet manifests, then keyed an evac route to human lines. Go. Tell them a defector sends this. Protect it. Gunfire echoed closer. Lisa melted into vents, her defection a quiet fracture in Dominion unity. Rourke's squad, hunkered in a rally point amid leaking hulls, received the ping. Neutral archivist inbound. High-value asset. Eyes sharp, Rourke murmured, slinging his rifle to cover the approach. Tali emerged, flanked by Lisa's ghost signal, collapsing into marine arms. The data spike synced. Gold mine intel. But now they had a protection obligation. Fragile alien witness, enemy defector's gift. Rourke glanced at his dwindled squad, the weight settling. War's cost wasn't just bodies. It was choices, piling like spent casings. Mara reviewed the incoming spike from the forward op, Tali's footage syncing with Rourke's logs. The galaxy would see. Humans choosing war, not from fury, but deliberate resolve. Trading peace for the blade's edge, disciplined and unyielding. Mara Vance's fingers hovered over the activation glyph, the raid's after-action feed still flickering on her secondary display. Rourke's squad hauling wounded through debris-choked corridors, their faces grim masks of focus amid the moans. No cheers, no boasts. Just the job done. She exhaled once, then pressed the command. Cascade Protocol Phase 1. Active. Her console chimed, voice synthesized calm threading through the CIC's hum. Logistics isolation vectors deploying. All allied nodes confirm receipt. Confirmations rippled in from a dozen systems. Human reserve fleets, stirring from shadow berths. Cyber teams slinging code like grapples into Dominion nets. Mara's plan unspooled in her mind's eye. Starve the beast first. No wild swings at the head. Cut supply spines from the coreward depots. Funnel false trails to ghost convoys. Then shatter the fleets piecemeal when they lunged hungry and blind. Surrender terms waited at the end. Not ash. Tali Saren clutched her recorder slate tighter in the observation blister, her frilled crest twitching as the human shipyards bloomed to life on the wide-view holopane. What she'd dismissed as scattered industrial cooperatives, peacetime factories churning civilian haulers, now extruded warships like hornets from combs, hulls, sealed mid-fabrication, drive nacelles igniting in synchronized thunder, reserve formations coalescing from nowhere. A full battle group, birthed in days. By the archives, Tali murmured, her translator bead pulsing. She'd embedded expecting a token skirmish, humans folding under Varkesh terror like soft traders always did. But this, hidden depths, masked as mundane labor. Her species, the Kasari, prized archival patience. They'd log a war for centuries before striking. Humans? They'd built the blade while smiling at T. Captain Vance's voice cut through the feed, projected for observers like her. Tali, your stream's live to the Neutral Council. Show them the yards. Every weld, every launch. No spin, just truth. Tali nodded to the empty air, her manipulators flying across the slate. The footage captured. Workers, human dockhands in grease-stained void suits, welding without pause, bantering through fatigue that would have felled her kin after hours. One paused to share a ration bar with a Kasari liaison, the alien's vents flaring gratitude. You lot don't quit, the liaison rasped. Thought your files exaggerated. Not exaggeration, the human replied, wiping sweat. Just Tuesday. Tali's crest flared wider. Endurance like that. Normal for them? Her research feeds buzzed. Human physiology, cortisol thresholds defying models. She'd compile it later, but now, the galaxy's neutral channels lit with her stream. Dismissal cracking into questions. In the Dominion's forward net, Code bloomed like viral thorns. Human cyber spearheads, teams juggling signals spoof, false manifests, sensor ghosts, slipped past outer firewalls. One operator, eyes bloodshot from 18-hour shifts, multitasked 3 threads, injecting convoy phantoms into Varkesh logistics AI, blinding relay pickets, pattern-weaving disruptions to mimic raider swarms. No panic, just relentless adaptation cross-referencing alien code dialects mid-breach, manifests routed. The lead tech murmured over comms. Their haulers chasing shadows toward the Veil Nebula. Fuel burn, critical in 48. Mara watched the cascade from her TAC board, nodes lighting green. Good work. Hold for Phase 2 prep. Her own mind raced parallel tracks. Projected casualties, alien ally sinks, Tali's feed metrics. Humans did this instinctively, she knew. No one remarked on it, just the work. Sergeant Elias Rourke gripped the relay station's access hatch. His platoon fanned in the zero-deck murk beyond the breach charge's fading glow. Air recyclers whirred faint, laced with ozone and blood scent from their earlier push. Lists first, prisoners clean, he growled into his squad net. No kills unless they force it. Private Lena Torres, arm bandaged from shrapnel, nodded through gritted teeth. Her 3rd wound this op, but she covered angles without flinch, spotting a Varkesh sentry's twitch before the drone feed did. Survivors manifest on core server, Sarge. Hacking now. Rourke's boot mags clamped as he advanced, rifle disciplined low. The raid's goal, Kestrel Gate survivor rosters, snatched from Dominion backups, plus high-value prisoners for intel. They'd taken hits. 2 serious wounded, medevac burning hot. But the pattern clicked. Relay layout mirrored old human depot specs. Varkesh tweaks predictable. Improvise. A Varkesh trooper lunged from shadow, claws splayed. Rourke sidestepped, baton-stunning neural cluster before the alien crumpled. Secure. Clean capture. Torres yanked the server core, her free hand juggling a suppressor patch to mute alarms, multitasking that saved seconds. Behind them, Doc Hale triaged amid the float. Ramirez stable, but femurs pasta. Evac priority. Hale's hands flew, reading vitals, dosing pain block, bonding the squad's fray with steady words. Hang on, kid. We're gold. They exfiltrated heavy. Prisoners zip-tied. Core clutched. Wounded slung. Rourke's after-action log, auto-sync to Vance. Op success. Cost paid. No rage in his voice, just tally. War's math. Admiral Karvek Juno's command throne vibrated with the first glitch reports, his armored crest plates grinding irritation. Piracy again? Dispatch hunter packs, standard dispersal. His staff echoed assent, but Lysa Venn, the civil liaison shadowing his bridge, leaned forward, her data veils flickering doubt. Admiral, patterns don't match raiders. Convoys rerouted en masse, manifests falsified at source. And that relay raid, clean, coordinated. Karvek waved a talon. Humans scatter like vermin under pressure. This is opportunism. He'd crushed softer foes with terror strikes. Humans, traitor scum, would break faster. But the seams yawned as he dispersed fleets, defensive shells fracturing to chase ghosts. His own strengths shone in massed charges, unyielding advance, yet these disruptions nibbling precision. Lysa cross-checked feeds, her status climb ambition warring with unease. Human restraint footage looped in neutral nets. Talisaran streams showing yards awaken, raids extracting without slaughter. No fury, planning. Her vents tightened. Research subroutines whispered of human history, disciplined wars, mercy clauses, impossible for prey. Mara's CIC thrummed as Phase 1 reports solidified. Dominion logistics hemorrhaging, seams gaping. Tali's blister feed showed allied observers, Kasari, Lirithi, leaning in, crests and frills signaling awe. They hid this capacity. One murmured, peacetime masks. But Mara pulled back on the strike vector's blooming red. Tighten constraints, she ordered fleet sync. No civilian docks, no habitat rings, surgical only. Supply nodes, fleet yards. Except 20% slower tempo. Her exec, Commander Halleck. Ma'am, we could shave weeks off and mirror their Kestrel Gate play? Mara's voice stayed level, the weight of it her flaw. Diplomat's ghost, weighing every shot against the piece she'd chase after. We break them clean, terms on offer when they're hollowed. Tali captured it all, Vance's steady gaze, The human teams grinding through night cycles without collapse, alien liaisons, sharing stim packs in quiet bonds. One Lyrathi engineer, after sinking a human improv fix on a yard crane, vented, "Your kind connects dots we plot by algorithm. Respect." Rourke's platoon docked back aboard the _resolute_, medbay doors hissing as stretchers rolled. He clapped Tora's shoulder, her arms slung now, but eyes sharp. "Pattern wreck gold, Private. Saved us twice." She grinned faint. "Just seeing what fits, Sarge." Carveck's bridge alarms wailed true now. Convoy losses mounting, hunters snared in false ambushes. "Regroup," he bellowed, but the dispersal bit deep, his rigid strat cracking under adaptive fog. Mara synced Tali's final take. Yards thundering launches, cyber ghosts dancing. Rourke's wounded borne with care. The galaxy watched, not berserkers, but a machine of resolve uncoiling, restraint as weapon. The blade's edge honed. Tali's slate pinged. Neutral council queries flooding. Her crest rose. Humans, ordinary in their files, rewriting the star's assumptions, one thread at a time. Captain Mara Vance watched the holotable flicker as the synchronized strike packages locked in. "Execute Omega Cascade," she ordered, her voice steady over the command net. Fleets surged from hyperspace shadows, human carriers unleashing drone swarms, allied Qatari frigates jamming Dominion sensors, while orbital fires lanced down in precise grids to crater enemy batteries around the refuel hub of Varkesh Outpost Epsilon. From her perch on the command deck of the UNS Reliant, Mara tracked it all. Electronic warfare suites spoofing inbound missiles, ground assault shuttles breaching Atmo amid flak bursts. Her team juggled feeds, logistics overlays predicting fuel flow disruptions, casualty projections ticking upward already. No vengeance in her plan, just the cold math of breaking their momentum without shattering the board. Kestrel Gate's ghosts demanded precision, not fury. Sergeant Elias Rourke gripped the assault shuttle strap as it bucked through the firestorm. "2 mics to dirt," he barked to his squad, eyes on the TAC display. The refuel hub sprawled below, towering cryotanks laced with defensive trenches, clusters of non-combatant workers, Varkesh admins and indentured haulers, huddled in blast pens. Intel showed autodestructs wired to the main depots. One wrong breach, and the whole site vaporized. "Stick to the plan, breach the auxiliary vents," Rourke said, multitasking suit diagnostics, squad vitals, and drone overwatch. His Marines nodded, faces grim under helmets, veterans who'd humped patrols for days without bitching, now threading this needle. Riskier path meant close quarters hell, but it kept the fuel intact for post-war aid. "We take it whole." Rules hold. The shuttle slammed dirt amid a Dominion trench line. Rourke kicked the ramp, rifle up, boots pounding ferrocrete. Bursts of plasma scorched the air as his squad fanned out. Suppressive fire pinning Varkesh grunts while sappers sliced vent grates. "Flank left, cover the workers," he called, spotting a huddle of wide-eyed aliens scrambling from a depot shadow. One Varkesh tech fumbled a detonator. Rourke's shot shattered it mid-air. Non-lethal override. Inside the vents it turned brutal. Tight crawls, muffled screams echoing as they cleared nested defenders. Rourke multitasked, directing breaching charges, patching a Marine's sucking chest wound with foam seal, reading enemy patterns from ricochet echoes. Humans pushed on, endurance kicking in. No fatigue whine after hours in the crush. They seized the core depot intact, fuel pumps humming untouched, workers herded to safe zones with zip cuffs and med scans. Tali Saren's frills quivered as she crouched in the Reliance observer bay, slate capturing every frame. Her embed protocols demanded neutrality, but the feeds from Epsilon flooded her with verified truth, human medics kneeling over captured Dominion troops, injecting stabilizers into chitinous wounds. "Hold still. You'll walk out of this," one corpsman said to a Varkesh private, his hand steady despite blood-smeared gloves. She uploaded the package, raw, time-stamped, no edits. Neutral nets lit up instantly, queries from her last broadcast still echoing. Her crest rose higher now. These humans triaged enemies like kin, balancing war's grind with tomorrow's peace. Not monsters, not softlings. Her species archives called them traitors, fragile bipeds. Yet here they mended what they broke, forging restraint into strategy. Tali keyed the broadcast. Confirmed. UNS forces secure hub, provide aid, intent verified. Admiral Carveck Juno's command throne shuddered as his heavy cruisers dropped from ambush vector. "Pin them," he snarled, mandibles clicking fury at the hollow display. Human formations should fracture under his hammer. Epsilon's hub a trap baited with feints. But their fleets adapted mid-fire. Carriers pivoted shields dynamically. Frigates spoofed his locks with ghost echoes. Ground elements reporting depots seized whole. What sorcery? Karvik muttered, his status-obsessed aides exchanging crests of doubt. Probes jammed, drones swarmed his flanks. Humans shifted like water, resilient, reading his patterns across battle space. A cruiser buckled under orbital lances. Karvik yanked his survivors to retreat, probes confirming the impossible. Fuel intact, workers unharmed. Soft traitors? No, they planned for after the killing. Back on the Reliant, Mara's calm cracked as casualty tallies spiked. Close quarters had turned the hub into a meat grinder. Rourke's squad down 30%. Medevac shuttles clawing skyward amid residual fire. Captain, her XO pressed. We push rotations now, ops tempo drops 10%. Authorize full rotation and trauma bays, Mara said, jaw tight. Urgency clawed her. Dominion counter could reclaim the hub. But Kestrel's children stared from her mind's edge. She couldn't grind her people to paste. Pods deployed, fresh squads slotting in seamlessly. Psych teams rotated shell-shocked Marines to sim therapy, maintaining cohesion. Humans bounced back, optimism woven into their grit. No breakdowns, just quiet resolve amid the cots. In a shadowed alcove off the captured hub's admin wing, Lysa Ven clutched her data slate, chitin trembling. She'd administered pacification at Kestrel, orders from on high, her flaw of blind loyalty to Dominion hierarchy blinding her to the rot. Now, watching humans cuff her kin gently, medics ignoring her rank to scan her burns, doubt cracked her shell. A human lieutenant approached, rifle slung, not triumphant, just professional. Ma'am, you're safe. Codes for your supply nets. We can end this faster. Spare the cities. Lysa hesitated, moral fracture widening. Karvik's terror gambit had birthed this. Humans responded not with mirrors, but scalpels. She extruded the admin keys. Ration manifests shortfall projections. Target the nodes, she whispered, defecting in that breath. Garv their war machine, not the world's. Mara integrated the codes mid-brief, her team pattern matching. Dominion logistics brittle, hubs like Epsilon feeding ration choke points. Shift strikes to supply nodes, she directed. Overlays blooming, cities spared, war's cost contained. Lysa's intel accelerated it, human adaptability, meshing with alien insight. Rourke wiped blood from his visor, surveying the secured hub. His squad slumped against cryotanks, sharing ration bars with cuffed Varkesh, awkward bonds forming over halting translator talk. You fight clean, one enemy grunted, crest low in confusion. Rourke nodded. No, gloat. Have to. For after. Tali's slate pinged again. Neutral council hailing, tones shifting from query to awe. Karvik's probes retreated, his counter a fizzle. Lysa Ven walked free under guard, her defection rippling through nets. Mara exhaled, the weight settling. First strike held, humans proving they could seize and spare. From Karvik's withdrawing flagship, scopes lingered on Epsilon. Lights steady in undamaged towers, human banners beside aid convoys. They'd taken it intact, planned for the peace and the punch. His mandibles ground, assumptions crumbling, the biped's ordinary discipline rewriting the offensive's grave. Tali watched the feeds converge, her archive swelling. Humans endured the grind, adapted mid-storm, bonded across lines, not as conquerors, but builders. The galaxy glimpsed it now, one verified frame at a time. Captain Mara Vance stared at the holographic cascade of intercepted Dominion comms, her fingers dancing across 3 data streams at once. Corruption ledgers from a bribed coalition quartermaster, vid captures of Kestrel Gate's execution pits, and Karvik's own flagged orders for exemplary terror. She didn't hesitate. With a curt swipe, she bundled the package and fired it through anonymous relays to every neutral net in the sector, tagged for maximum viral fracture. Psyops amplify, she said into her calm, voice level as she multitasked a logistics reroute for the next strike fleet. Rourke's vigil goes live now. Frame it clean. Humans shield the innocent, even enemies, punish the chain tops, spare the roots. In the fleet command pit, her team nodded without fanfare, already splicing the footage. Sergeant. Elias Rourke hunkered beside the trembling Varkesh woman in that neutral camp, his rifle steady, voice calm, as he shared ration packs. No rage, just resolve. The clip rocketed out. Subtitled in 12 tongues. We came for justice, not extinction. Across the void, Tali Saren hunched over her archive console aboard the Endurance, her frilled crest flickering with the influx. The human feeds hit like a plasma burst. Raw, unfiltered proof of Dominion graft, layered with that soldier's quiet stand. Her species, the archivists, prized precision over passion. But this, she cross-referenced patterns humans seemed to spot instinctively. Coalition allies peeling away already, their channels buzzing with outrage. Dismissed as traitors, she noted in her log, yet they weave narratives that bind where ours merely record. A human ensign glanced her way, offering a tired nod. Helps if you verify the chain of custody, Tali. She did, and the respect in his eyes lingered. Rourke gripped the escort shuttle's harness as it bucked through the neutral corridor's debris field, his squad's breath steady despite 12 hours straight on alert. Lysa Ven sat across from him, her Varkesh scales dulled by stress, clutching a data slate of purloined logistics codes. 2 other defectors, wire Skrell engineers, flanked her, eyes darting. You trust us this far? Lysa rasped, her translator glitching on the edge of fear. Rourke met her gaze. No bravado. Earned it when you handed over those fleet manifests. We get you to the rally point, Dominion breaks faster. His Marines checked weapons mid-convo, one patching a suit breach from the last skirmish while bantering in low tones. Human endurance, just doing the job. Proximity klaxons wailed. Kill team inbound, Rourke barked. Squads snapping to ports. Dominion stealth pods latched like ticks, breaching with plasma cutters. The first Varkesh raider burst through, claws gleaming. Rourke's burst took its head clean, but returned fire shredded Pivatai Lena's leg armor. She cursed, staunching it one-handed while laying suppressing fire. Flank left, cover the civvies. Rourke shouldered Lysa behind a bulkhead, his mind juggling fire teams, shuttle drift, and defector positions. Lysa froze as a raider lunged. She jammed her slate's override into its neck port, frying its implants. Not all of us follow Karvek blindly, she growled. The squad pressed, humans adapting on the fly. Rourke spotting a weak bulkhead seam aliens overlooked, calling an improvised breach that funneled the enemy into a kill box. Grenades cracked, suits vented, and the last raider slumped. Lena limped up, grinning through pain. 2 down, Sarge. Told you we'd multitask. Cost. 1 Marine medevast, shuttle hold. But the defectors breathed free, Lysa pressing Rourke's arm in silent pact. Pack bonds. Tali would log later from the relayed feed, formed in fire, not force. Admiral Karvek Juno's command deck reeked of scorched circuits and frustration, his status crests flaring crimson as reports piled in. Coalition fringes defecting, his own logistics ghosted by leaks. Soft traitors he'd sneered weeks ago. Now humans dissected his plays like surgeons. They leak our sins to cow allies, he snarled to his staff, mandibles clicking. Fine, drag them low. He vectored hollows forward. Reprisal Protocol Delta, seed civilian habs with our shields, non-combatants, marked clear. Advanced squads hold behind them. Humans hesitated innocents, force their hand to barbarity. Or they stall and we bleed them dry. His officers saluted, efficient as ever. Varkesh terror doctrine, honed over centuries, but doubt flickered in Subcommander Vex's eyes. And if they thread the needle? Karvek waved it off. Impossible. Traitors lack stomach. Mara Vance caught the reprisal order mid-brief, her jaw tightening as orbital scans lit up civilian clusters laced with Dominion holdouts. Command pit hushed. Dissent rippled. Area strikes, growled Colonel Hale, eyes hard from Kestrel losses. Glass the shields, end it quick. Murmurs agreed. Human fury banked, but hot. No, Mara said, flat and final. Pulling up strike vectors, her mind raced patterns. Weak points in hab shielding, troop dispositions, civilian evac paths. Precision only, boarding teams, scalpel drones. Higher risk to our boots, 0 to theirs. She assigned Rourke's fresh squad to elite assault, accepting the grind. Endurance meant owning the cost. Hale leaned in, voice low. You're betting lives on morality, Captain, after what they did to our kids. Mara's pause was brief. Haunted, we win clean, or we lose who we are. She locked eyes around the pit, oversight formalized. Every strike reviewed live, ROE violations court-martialed on the spot. Dissent noted. But we hold line. Tali Saren captured it all from her embed station, her crest pulsing with the weight. Human commanders arguing proportionality, not screaming matches but measured clashes, flaws bared, Hale's grief-fueled push, Mara's diplomats' patience cracking under load. Yet they adapted, formalizing checks mid-crisis, humans juggling command ethics like routine. Psychological resilience she keyed, turning inward fury outward as discipline. A junior officer shared her screen, pointing out a Dominion feint Tali's archives had flagged first. Your pattern match saved that boarding team. Mutual nod. Teacher to student reversed. Karvek watched the first reprisal feed, anticipation coiling. Human fleets massed then, splintered into surgical lances. No barrage. Boarding pods pierced Hab shields like needles. Troops rappelling into kill zones while drones herded civilians clear. His shields crumpled under fire teams that fought 12-hour shifts without falter, improvising breaching charges from scrap. Impossible, Karvek muttered, as Lysa's leaked codes ghosted another supply line. Coalition chatter turned. Humans punish leaders, not peoples. His crests wilted. Varkesh's strength was shock and awe. Humans answered with tighter discipline, sharper knives, enduring the bleed, adapting the cut. Rourke's squad breached the Hab core, mag clamps holding as they cleared rooms. A civilian cluster huddled. He waved them aft, rifle trained on Dominion holdouts. Lysa, patched into their net, vectored weak spots. Their armory kosh. Burst fire. Collapse. No overkill. As they extracted, Rourke caught Tali's relay ping. Observers got R6. Keep it pro. Tali archived the convergence. Leaks fracturing alliances. Rourke's escort forging bonds. Mara's precision carving victory without stain. Humans didn't boast. They worked. Her final note pulsed out galaxy-wide. Discipline as weapon. Mercy as strategy. The Dominion reeled. Humans pressed. Humble. Relentless. Just. Word count. 1487. Admiral Karvek Juno's claws scraped the armrest of his command throne as the holographic projector hummed to life. Transmit this to the human flagship Endurance, he growled to his comms officer, his frilled crest flaring with anticipated triumph. Humans of the United Earth Navy, the Dominion offers ceasefire. Cease all hostilities. We retain our territorial adjustments from Kestrel Gate, and your trade lanes reopen. Leadership remains intact on both sides. Respond within the cycle, or we resume purges. The message lanced across the void toward the human battle group, Karvek's image frozen in predatory satisfaction. He leaned back, mandibles clicking. Soft traders, eager for calm. They'd trade their dead for quiet. Always did. Aboard Endurance, Captain Mara Vance watched the transmission replay on the strategy holotable, her jaw set like welded steel. The bridge crew, humans and a handful of embedded Qatari analysts, held breath in the dim red lighting. Mara's fingers danced across her tablet, cross-referencing Dominion fleet positions with prisoner manifests she'd pieced together from intercepted chatter. No arrogance in her posture, just the quiet grind of a diplomat turned planner, her eyes tracing supply lines that screamed vulnerability. Record response, she said evenly, stepping into the projector field. Her uniform hung looser now, weeks of skipped meals etching lines into her face, but her voice carried the weight of a fleet. Admiral Juno, humanity rejects your terms. Release all prisoners from Kestrel Gate and allied worlds immediately. Dismantle extermination units under neutral verification. Only then do we discuss armistice. Victory conditions are explicit. Your offensive capacity ends, or we end it. Endurance out. She cut the feed, turning to her exec. Execute Blackthorn. Full logistics denial. Convoy interdictions first, then depots. No civilian targets. Confirm with JAG. Aye, Captain. Lieutenant Reyes nodded, already patching orders to strike groups. Mara felt the ship's deck thrum as engines spooled up, her mind juggling fleet vectors, fuel projections, and Tali Saren's latest observer logs. The neutral archivist had been shadowing her for weeks, her iridescent scales flickering with unspoken questions. Humans didn't flagellate over costs. They paid them. Across the sector, human corvettes ghosted through asteroid veils, their crews pulling double shifts without a murmur. Ensign Patel in Viper 3 nursed a bruised rib from a sim drill, but his eyes stayed glued to sensor feeds, Pattern-matching Dominion convoy echoes against stellar drift. Bogies at 040 Mark 7, he murmured. Multitasking evasion burns, while sinking jammer drones. Fuelers confirmed. No escorts close. Light 'em up, his CO ordered. Missiles bloomed silent in the black precision strikes crumpling haulers before alarms wailed. No cheers, just efficient after-action logs. Crews rerouting to the next vector. By cycle's end, 3 convoys burned, their plasma-wake starving Carvex spearheads. Stranded? How? He bellowed, slamming a fist into the plot table. Icons blinked red. Fleets adrift, reactors sipping fumes. His analysts, competent Varkash tacticians, scoured replays, frills drooping. Humans bypassed our screens, one stammered. Predictive interdiction, they anticipated resupply rhythms. Impossible, Carvex snapped, but doubt gnawed. Humans weren't warriors, they bartered. Yet here, depots fell like dominoes, seizure teams rappelling onto orbital tanks, human marines enduring 0 firefights for hours, sealing hatches before venting fuel to safe orbits. No mass slaughter, just methodical strangulation. Sergeant Benton, Elias Rourke gripped a handrail in the assault shuttle's bay, mag boots locked as Razorback slammed toward the prison transport dreadcoil. His squad, 8 rifles from 3rd Orbital, faces smeared with camo glint, checked breaching charges in grim silence. Rourke's code burned steady. Rules of war held, even here. Kestrel's ghosts demanded it. But vengeance, that was the enemy's sin. Contact in 30, the pilot crackled. Explosives bloomed on the hull cam. Rourke's team poured through the breach, corridors narrowing to kill zones. Varkash guards, hulking frill-necked brutes, met them with plasma volleys. Suppress left, Rourke barked. His rifle barking controlled bursts. He multitasked, covering fire, squad pings, reading enemy twitch patterns from half-glimpsed mandibles. Private Lena Torres took a hit shielding the medic, crumpling without a scream. Rourke dragged her clear, fury leashed to focus. Adapt, improvise, flank via vents, he ordered, spotting a maintenance-grade aliens overlooked. His team crawled, endurance kicking in as claws scrabbled behind. They freed the first hold. Emaciated prisoners, humans, Qatari, even Varkash dissidents, stumbling into a vac. Deeper in, chaos peaked. Porprial Jax fell to a boarding axe, his blood slicking the deck. Rourke pressed on, pattern recognizing guard rotations, turning a Jan door into a choke point trap. A vac's hot move. Half his squad gone, but 200 souls boarded shuttles. As Razorback peeled away, Rourke slumped against a bulkhead, bandaging a gash. Optimism flickering. We'd paid, but we'd won this piece. Carvex watched the dread coil feeds in impotent rage, transports limping home empty. Propaganda blackout, he snarled. But then his civil liaison channel lit. Lysa Ven, her image pale, frills retracted. Admiral, cannot. Lysa. Carvex's voice cracked authority. She broadcast from a neutral relay, documents flooding open channels, orders stamped with his seal, detailing Kestrel Gates coal, children's biometrics, execution logs. You authorized it, she said, voice steady despite trembling vents. I administered pacification. But humans, they fight without becoming us. They spared my convoy yesterday. Here's proof. I'm defecting. With codes. The bridge froze. Carvex's crest collapsed. Political cover shredded. War Council feeds exploded with accusations. Lysa's data routed straight to human intel, unlocking depot overrides. Fleets went dark, one by one. Tali Saren hunched in Endurance's observer nook, her archival drone whirring as she compiled footage. Rourke's boarding, Mara's refusals, logistics strikes threading civilian lanes like needles. Varkash claimed barbarism. Humans logged every munition, every restraint. Tali's species prized precision records. Hers showed compliance, irrefutable. Transmitting to Galactic Concord, she announced to Mara, who nodded without pause, still plotting Phase 2. Tali hesitated, the scales shimmering awe. Humans juggled war's horror with normalcy, no collapse, just resilience. She'd dismissed them as fragile traitors. Now, cross-referencing their manuals, she queried her database. Human endurance norms exceed 7-2, hour ops without degradation. Extraordinary, yet they called it duty. Mara glanced up, reading Tali's flicker, subtext clear in the archivist's widened vents. "Your report matters," Mara said simply. "Keeps us honest." Tali nodded, bonding unspoken. Mutual teachers in this grind. Karvek's fleets drifted, bellies empty, Lysa's codes sealing their doom. Ceasefire? Now humans dictated terms. He'd assumed softness. Reality was steel, wrapped in rules. As human probes closed, Karvek signaled surrender channels. Not capitulation, but survival. The galaxy watched. Tali's report sealing isolation. Dominion lies crumbled against verified restraint. Rourke, back aboard Razorback, cleaned his rifle amid empty bunks. Jax's tag heavy in his pocket. Cost tallied. But prisoners breathed free. Mara reviewed hollows. Vance calm amid victory's edge. Tali archived the shift. Humans, ordinary by their lights, dismantled an empire without monstrosity. Respect bloomed, earned, shared. In the void, endurance led the cordon. Terms broadcast. Prisoners first. Units dissolved. Karvek's image returned. Crest low. Conditions met. Negotiate. Mara allowed a tight smile. Copy. Welcome to accountability. Mara Vance leaned into the hollow display, her fingers tracing the final synchronization arcs across the tactical overlay. Execute Phase 3. Cyber insertion at mark. Decapitation strikes follow in 60. Blockade holds the flanks. Her voice cut steady through the command nexus, no tremor despite the 18-hour shift blurring her edges. The ops team, human and a handful of embedded Krell analysts, nodded sharp, fingers flying across consoles. One Krell, its frilled crest flickering with focus, murmured through the translator, "Human timing. Precise beyond our simulations." She felt the weight of it then, the pivot from attrition to endgame. Kestrel Gate's ghosts lingered in every projection, 6,000 civilians, executed in cold vacuum. But this wasn't rage, it was calculus. Break Karvek's node without shattering the sector. Her flaw gnawed at her, that diplomat's hesitation, but she crushed it. Confirm all units. Rules of engagement hold, no pursuits beyond the corridor. Across the void, in the shadowed heart of the Varkesh command carrier Dreadspur, Admiral Karvek Juno gripped the armrests of his throne, his armored scales rasping against synth leather. The human interdictions had gutted his supply lines. Logistics ghosts, they called them now, after Mara's code-slicing teams turned freighters into floating tombs. Launch all reserves, he snarled to his bridge crew. Mandibles clicking fury, cut to their population lanes. They'll fold when the traitors scream. His strategist, a wiry Sketh sub-officer, hesitated, its tail twitching doubt. "Admiral, projections show." "Projections lie," Karvek's voice boomed, but inside doubt coiled like a parasite. Humans weren't supposed to adapt like this, rerouting fleets on the fly, their infantry enduring plasma barrages that would pulp Varkesh ranks. He'd researched them after Kestrel, dismissed the old files as traitor myths. Now his core fleet hemorrhaged drones to their layered nets, minefields that shifted like living webs, fighters multitasking evasion, and precision strikes mid-dogfight. Desperation clawed him. One push, in victory. The assault wave erupted from Dreadspur's bays, 600 talons of corvettes and bombers, plasma lances hot, aimed at the human colony routes beyond the neutral drift. Alarms wailed as human defenses lit up, adaptive sensor buoys, reprogrammed in hours from salvage, painting targets before Varkesh scopes could cycle. Human frigates danced through the kill zones, crews juggling fire control, repairs, and counterhacks without pause. A Varkesh bomber squadron, vaporized in a crossfire ambush, debris blooming silent. Karvek watched his icons wink out, sustainable losses for them becoming attrition for him. Flank left, redirect power to shields. But the humans anticipated, their blockade cinching like a noose. Cyber ghosts flickered through his net, human code, creative, weaving shutdowns from Varkesh's own protocols. His fleet fragmented, the push breaking at the cost of 30% hulls. Not total, but enough. His mandibles groundstone on the shattered ground of Epsilon Drift's primary platform. A neutral way station turned kill zone. Sir G.D. Elias Rourke crouched behind a buckled bulkhead, his squad fanned in a ragged wedge. Plasma scorched the air, Varkesh holdouts pouring fire from the surrender corridor. Flankers, suppress left, medkit to Reyes, he's hit but walking. Rourke's voice stayed level, his M7 rifle barking controlled bursts. 12 hours in the breach, no complaints. Humans pushed through fatigue like it was just another drill. Private Lena Torres, blood streaking her visor, patched a wounded Varkesh conscript mid-firefight. Its carapace cracked, keening low. Hold still, scales for brains, she muttered, injecting nanosealant. The alien's eyes widened, mandibles slack. Humans treating enemies? Rourke covered her, spotting the pattern. Varkesh officers whipping conscripts forward, but the ranks wavering. Cease fire, Rourke bellowed into the open channel, standing tall as his squad laid down cover. Surrender corridors live. Drop arms, step forward single file. A Varkesh sergeant lunged, blade high. Rourke dropped him with a leg shot. Precise. Discipline, people. No reprisals. His Marines echoed it, forming the corridor under drone overwatch. Conscripts stumbled through, scales dulled by shock, one clutching a hollow of its clutchmates. Rourke met its gaze, nodded once. You're done fighting. Med teams incoming. Pressure peaked as a final Varkesh platoon charged. Desperate, suicidal, Rourke's squad held, multitasking, rifles, zip cuffs, vitals scans. They secured it without a single prisoner kill, though Reyes limped permanent. Cost of war, etched in sweat and blood. Tali Saren huddled in the observation blister of the human medship Relief Dawn, her archival lens whirring as corpsmen swarmed the triage bay. Varkesh wounded flooded in. Karvek's broken assault funneled through Rourke's corridor. A human doctor, sleeves rolled, cauterized a talon limb while bantering with a Krell nurse. Past the plasma clamp. Yeah, that one. He's stable. Tali's fronds quivered, stylus flying. She'd arrived expecting human collapse. A footnote archive. Now, videos of Rourke's stand circulated galaxy-wide, Marines shielding enemy non-coms from their own zealots. This, medics triaging Varkesh over their own fatigued, endurance unbroken after days without rotation. You treat them first? She asked a passing corpsman, voice hushed. He shrugged, wiping gore. Triage by severity, ma'am. Doesn't care about sides. Tali cross-referenced. Varkesh doctrine prioritized elites. Humans flipped it. Pattern recognition spotting shock patterns across species. Her feed spiked. Neutral stations rebroadcasting. Aliens dissecting human resilience. Karvek's fleet icons flatlined on the overlay. Cyber shutdown complete. Decapitation strikes nailing command nodes. Lethal, yes, but lawful. Her arc bent, from observer to advocate. Archiving the shift. Mara's nexus hushed as the final confirms rolled in. Karvek's carrier drifted powerless, his shuttle escorted to the parlay deck. She faced him across the table, his scales dulled, eyes hollow. Admiral, your offensive capacity is neutralized. Surrender terms, fair trials for war crimes architects, Kestrel included. Amnesty for conscripts, no reprisals. Reconstruction aid, tied to full disarmament and civilian safeguards. Karvek's mandibles worked silently then. You could annihilate us. We could. Mara's tone stayed even, weighing her old diplomat's peace against the soldier's scars. War ends when you choose it. He signed, the fleet yielding. Lysa Ven, the defector, stood at Mara's flank. Her codes had tipped the cyber phase, whispering data bursts to aid the transition. Varkesh ranks demobilized under watch. Humans packing gear with quiet efficiency. Weeks blurred into shuttles homeward. Rourke's squad offloaded its Sol relay, trading rifles for cargo manifests, joking with Tali over ration packs. Your archive's gonna make us famous? He teased. She frilled amusement. Already has. Humans. The patient storm. Galaxy feeds hummed. Trade lanes reopening. Varkesh sectors stabilizing under joint oversight. Admirals from a dozen species queried human liaisons. Preconceptions cracked, endurance in the breach, creativity in the code, restraint in victory. Mara Vance stepped onto Terra's dock, the campaign plan archived, her team scattering to peacetime posts. Kestrel's lesson etched permanent. Provoke the traitors at peril. Humanity slipped back to ledgers and talks. Ordinary again. But the stars remembered the price.